honestly. I'm just sick of them not taking me serious.
Watch this. Can you feel it? Watch this. You've underestimated everything I've been through. I think you can't imagine all the things that I can do. I see you on the pedestal, you pull yourself upon to. I'm a wild animal here to devour you. Watch this.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm CJ. Well, I might have just found a game-changing suspension, especially for older bikes, but I'm going to tell you why and show you. The suspension I'm talking about is from Geezer Engineering, and let me tell you, I wasn't even looking at their full suspension package when I started looking at them. I was just looking at the triple because I wanted to convert the front end from 41 to 49 millimeter forks. I wanted the more clamping power around the fork tubes. I wanted a stiffer front end. And let me tell you, I accomplished that with just the triple trees alone. Amazing product. I mean, I cannot tell you how much it has changed that front end to where I have a stiffer front end and don't feel like I have any flex, any play in it. Now, I had the opportunity to literally put their whole suspension on the bike. I didn't want to run it 1,000 miles, give you guys a review, let you know how it runs within just that short period of time. That to me is not enough mileage to test this suspension out. I wanted to do several trips, at least 5,000 miles or more with the suspension setup to give you guys my thought. Now, I went with their 13-inch shot. They do offer a 14-inch and 2-over in the front if you want even taller suspension, but just the rear alone offers so much fine-tuning. You set the sag, and it's got so many turns on the compression dampening, you could actually lock out the shock if you wanted to with just the compression dampening. I don't know, when a bike's just set up right, you just don't want to stay off her no matter what the weather is, because it's a little bit nippy out right now. But I just enjoy riding this bike. And putting this Geezer engineering suspension on there really made the difference for me. I mean, even if I'm rocking it up higher speeds, taking turns, it feels nimble, it feels responsive, it doesn't bounce me around. I mean, I can get off this bike after 500-700 miles and still feel like I can put down more miles because it just absorbs the bumps. Going into the turn, it just sinks in and feels like I'm riding a rail around that turn. I mean, it's just so amazing that it turned this older bike into a handling machine. Now, gaining my ground clearance back by going back up to stock height, 13 in the rear, stock height in the front, allows me to take turns a little bit easier and not scrape my floorboards. When I had a 12-inch shock in the rear and lowered in the front, I take a simple turn. Well, I wouldn't say exactly simple, but I would scrape a whole lot easier because I didn't have that ground clearance. I couldn't really lean into the turns as fast or as hard as I wanted to. I thought I needed a 12-inch shock in the rear and the bike being lowered. I'm only 5'6", and the bike pushes my legs out a little bit where I'm tiptoeing at this height, but I just try not to get in predicaments where my feet might be slipping. But coming to stops, I can easily touch the ground, stop this bike. It has been an absolute game changer for me. I mean, putting down 5,000 miles on this bike over different areas, I never thought twice about it. I actually probably take turns now a little bit more aggressive than I probably should have or should, but I just feel that comfortable on the bike now. Now, with this front end being stiffer, I feel even more comfortable at slow maneuvers because I don't feel any unwanted play. Beforehand, I'd come up to a stop and feel there was like a lot of play in the front end, especially when I had a passenger, to where I really had to work the bike to stop. I just felt like it wasn't stiff enough. Even like tightening up the nut, it just wouldn't do, because then I had to over tighten it, have to loosen it back up. When I swapped out the trip trees, it took all that play out. So when I come up to a stop, it's just straight arrow. It feels like I have more control. Just amazing how much of a difference changing the triple trees out, and it feels more responsive. So when I'm going straight, it's locked in place. When I want to make a turn, I don't feel that unwanted play or flex in the front end. So I really highly recommend just triple trees by themselves to convert an older bike to handle better.